Let's make move up work. This time around, instead of making my method to move up receive the flick and an event, I'm going to make it receive only the flick and see what we can do, because that really ought to be enough. And the reason I want to do that is because we said for move down, we're going to just call move up with the next item in the list. Instead of moving the current one down, we'll move the next one up. So I want to write move up in a way that it doesn't have to be a direct event handler. So let's do that real quick. Shouldn't be too hard. Call it move up. It'll receive the flick as an argument. This is a property on an object, so don't forget the comma. So in order to move the list item up, we will have to get the list item. We've been getting it via the event. This time around, we'll find it another way, but that's easy enough because we have the flick and thus have the flick's ID, and we've been putting the flick ID on an attribute on the data set of the list item. And we can use a selector to find an element by any attribute. Let's have a look at that. Let's look at one of these. So Transformers has a data ID of 2. And that went away as soon as I inspected it, but that's okay. This should be the same thing. So if we do a document.querySelector, we want to find it by ID. The selector for that is square bracket, attribute selector. So you can find it by any attribute you want, including something like data ID. Data ID, this would find any element with the attribute data ID present. And if we do that, we get 2 of them with query selector all. If I want to check the value, query selector, we're only looking for one of them now. Just say equals quote and then the value you're looking for. Did ID 2, and that would be Transformers, right? The Rock had 1, Transformers had 2. So we can find it that way. So const list item equals, we could do document.querySelector, or we could look just within the list. The list, remember, we already have as a property of our app object. So this dot list dot query selector. I'll use a template, so backticks instead of quotes. Square bracket data ID equals quote, and in there I will do string interpolation and find the one with the same value as the ID of the current flick. So now I have the list item, so we also need the index within the array. We've done that several times, that's easy. Just use index of, since we already have the flick passed in as an argument. Now since we're moving up, if it's already at the very top of the list, we shouldn't move it because there's nowhere for it to move. So we will check that I is greater than 0. If it's not, that means it's already the first one in the list, so we won't move it. So let's go ahead and move the list item down in the unordered list. That's easy enough. This dot list is the thing we're inserting into, it's the parent. This dot list dot insert before. What are we inserting? List item. What are we inserting it before? The list item's previous sibling or previous element sibling. That ought to do it. To move it within the array, we'll just do it like swapping variables. Something we've all done many times. So we'll get the previous one. And that would be this dot list square bracket I minus 1, right? And then we will say, not list this time, flicks, right? The actual array. So then we can say this dot flicks I minus 1 equals the current flick. And this dot flicks I is what was previously the previous flick, right? We're just swapping the places. And that ought to do it. Let's see if we can make that work. All right, so app.flicks square bracket 2 would be transformers. So I will call app.moveup and pass it app.flicks square bracket 2, the second one. I mean, the third one down, right? Okay, got a misspelled insert before. Unfortunately, that refreshes the page. Fortunately, I can type. All right, app move up, app.flicks square bracket 2. Let's watch it on the page. And it moved up. And let's look at the actual array now. App.flicks. Make sure it changed not just on the page. All right, and we have Bad Boys 2. And then transformers. So it moved up both places. Victory is ours. So now we just have to make it work. When you click a button. No problem. Thankfully we have our little template item here, so we don't have to build it from scratch using JavaScript. I'll put it between fave and delete. Button with a class of button. Let's give it a class of move up as well. And we may as well make the down button while we're at it. Yay. Okay. So in handle submit, or render list item rather, we make all these other buttons. Now let's make attach the event listener for this one. So this would be item.querySelector button dot move dash up. And we want to add an event listener. And this time, rather than the event handler just being move up, because I didn't make it, I mean, that would actually work for now, as long as I bind it the same way. We can pass in the event, no big deal. We'll do that. So the event we're listening for is click, and the method that we want to handle the event would be this dot move up. And we will need to bind this and pass it the flick as an argument. Yes, the event will be passed in as a second argument, but that doesn't matter. We're not using it this time. Move it up. There it goes. Up to the top. Click it one more time, make sure we don't have an exception. We don't, it stopped it from moving because it's already at the top. And we can still move others. And if we look at the array, transformers is indeed at the top, and the rock is next. And we can still fave things. If we look at that array again, let's look at the rock now. Fave is true. Yep. Everything works just great.